Okay, hello people of YouTube, it's Deephack here, and welcome to the DCS live stream. Well, DCS news, in fact. Hope that you guys enjoyed that video. That was tutorial 2 in the F-16C Viper. Hello, everyone's coming into the stream here. Hello Tog, hello Byron, hello Stevie B, welcome everybody to the stream. Thank you for the compliment on my landing. Yes, second attempt was far superior, first attempt was rubbish, but I thought it was still instructional to show the wrong way to fly an approach. In my defense, it's way more difficult to do this when you're not in VR. Like when I'm in VR, I kind of I fly the plane just like I would in real life, you know, like kind of constantly referencing the side. I just keep turning my head and judging my position at all times. I can't do that with the fixed view. It makes it really, really hard. So yes, that was the takeoff, landing and navigation tutorial for the F-16. I'm thinking for the next one, what I will most likely do is air-to-air radar modes, because I think that would be the most interesting thing to do next. So that's what will be coming. But yes, without any further ado, let's move on to the DCS World News, and I'm going to pull in dotChuckles. Hello, dotChuckles.
Dabby-dab-dab.
Just dabbing it out.
Dabbing it out.
Dabbing it out.
Welcome to the stream, sir. I salute you.
Yes.
We've had an exciting week in, well, okay, not massively exciting, but there has been some stuff in DCS World this week. We have a bunch of stuff that we can go over. Of course, first thing that happened was on Wednesday, we had Han Update. Actually, let me just bring up the change notes here. Mostly fixies, nothing massively exciting. The only couple of things that I really pulled out here was nice to see that they've fixed the FPS problems with the GF-17 when it's sitting on the ground in sim. And then also the fix for the multiplayer for the server. Dedicated server after a restart. Not the first mission from the list will start, but the last one played. They've now fixed that.
Fantastic. And a bunch of stuff for the excuse me, the AvioDev C101, which might be relevant for something else later on, which we'll talk about. But yeah, on the whole, for this update, nothing really grabbed me as being, ooh, cool. I mean, sure, infrastructure stuff with the dedicated server, that's great. Very little for the F-16 and F-18. I mean, I get it with the F-18, that's getting very near feature complete, but I would have hoped to have seen more stuff with the F-16. But maybe that means that there's some big things in the works and they're still getting around to pushing it out. I don't know. We shall see.
Who knows? Well, yeah, actually, I guess if we could use that as a hook, there is some big stuff, of course, coming to the F-18 in the next update, and we can actually show off a couple of these just now. So we, of course, have Slam ER.
Yeah.
Is one of them. Now, that's going to be really cool. I'm very much looking forward to having that in the sim.
Yeah, when you absolutely positively have to kill every motherfucker in the room from 100 miles away.
Yes. Slam ER. That's the hammer for this particular nail. Yeah, very, very interesting missile. It flies pretty far, has the ability to fly via particular waypoints, so you can control exactly how it approaches the target. Basically, it's a mini cruise missile.
Yeah. It is an air-launched cruise missile, and it's got a pretty big warhead on it as well. Yeah. So now, does it have hardened target variation? I can't remember if it does.
I believe the Slam does, so I'd be surprised if the Slam ER does not. You see, actually, in this video, this is Matt Wagner's video on the Slam ER, by the way, and you do see him setting the E-fuse to instantaneous. I would suspect if he hit that again, he would have options for delay.
Delay, yeah.
So, I wonder
look at that!
What
on
is
the
this?
map.
What is this we're seeing?
Yeah,
Could this be Cyprus?
yeah. Cyprus making an appearance in the map. Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, 3
about this.
evil C-130s on the ground. Yeah, Cyprus is pretty cool. Obviously, RAF Akrotiri. That's going to add some new places to play.
I believe that you are intimately familiar with Cyprus.
Yeah, for all of about an hour.
Yes.
I didn't get to stay. It was a bit upsetting. I was annoyed. But there we go.
This is the life of a cadet, eh? But yes, we have Slam ER, which is looking very, very exciting. And then also, for the Hornet, this is probably going to be less of a useful video for me to be playing in the background. But anyway, this is Matt Wagner's video all about waypoint offsets. Which is also a new feature coming to the FA-18. Something that I already use quite a lot in the Harrier, so it's nice to see it coming to the FA-18. I've noted that the waypoint offset functionality, well, the DED page in the F-16 for waypoint offsets is present and looks correct, but I've never tried to use it, and I would suspect it doesn't work. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, with having offsets, that's obviously that's sort of got big things for CAS missions, because if your waypoint is a known location, you can then get some bearings and distances from that known location and punch them in, and well, that's where my target is. So it just adds a little bit more flexibility in sort of ground attack.
Useful for bullseye calls too.
Yeah, it's but it is a bit, esoteria, in terms of things for the F-18. It's they are now kind of getting down to the last few. What haven't we done? Right, let's get that in. I'd just like to see more momentum on the F-16, because it's still a bit bare bones, really.
I want to see all those DED pages that are not implemented in there, because there's so many good ones in the F-16. Oh, by the way, say hello to Northman.
Oh, is Northman here?
Northman is here.
Way, Northman, how you doing, sir?
So yeah, no, I'm in total agreement with you there. I would much rather see all the DED pages implementing the F-16, and I'm sure that Northman would too, because he is intimately familiar with that jet.
Yes, he knows it very well. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, there's that one. Now I've completely gone out of sequence, so let's see if I can get back to where we
jumped around.
Actually,
let's get back to our schedule. Yeah,
let's get back to where we were supposed to be. And this is where we were supposed to be. Aegis have released a video of their kind of progress on the Mirage F1, and it's rather splendid.
Yeah.
It's looking just a little bit sexy.
Yeah. And this is why I called out the massive updates to the C-101, because this was obviously part of the same team that did that, wasn't it?
That's my understanding. I don't fully understand the difference between AvioDev and Aegis, but I understand that it's mostly the same people.
Right. Okay.
And just the modelling in the cockpit here, I think, is very, very nice.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Yes, and I totally recognise this funny texture in the cockpit from the Mirage 2000. So that they've clearly done a good job of texturing this.
I mean, that said, like the C-101, I didn't fly it much, but the cockpit looked great in that as well. Like they did some really good work with that. So, they've clearly brought it across to the Mirage and upped their game a little bit. It's looking pretty funky. Now, the nice thing about the Mirage, it was widely exported as well, and it was widely exported to North Africa. Like, I think Libya had it. Some countries in the Middle East had it. So it's actually another quite viable Red 4 jet, in terms of...
If you'll see Tog's comment there, we have those stationed here as well as part of the Red Flag team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, there you go. It is absolutely a red for jet. Just in terms of the people that bought it. I have a connection with this as well. Well, with the CZ model, my family member of mine used to be mechanic on the CZ version. So I'm kind of like, ooh, exciting.
yeah, family connection.
Family connection, yeah. It does look great.
Totally does.
I dare say it's actually looking pretty finished.
Well,
So, I mean,
couple of
is this
notable
something
things.
we're going to see soon?
Well, they only announced it 6 months ago, so I don't know. Another thing that's notable is they demonstrate a lot of stuff in this video. However, they don't at any stage demonstrate the weapon systems, the radar, or the gun sight. So I suspect that these systems are not implemented as yet.
Right.
So that said, it looks fantastic, but I'm pretty sure that it's still got a bit of work to go before it's ready. I would imagine.
Yeah, if you notice in that shot that was just sort of playing there, the radar screen was looking quite blank. So,
Yes.
But I mean, externally and in the cockpit, it's looking fabulous.
It's looking swish. And they do demonstrate the autopilot. I like a good autopilot in my jets.
Yeah.
It looks like the exact same one that the 2000 has.
Now, did the Argentinians have the F1?
Yes.
They did. So when we see the Falklands map, we've got Harrier versus Mirage lineup,
Yeah. Did the Mirages actually make it out there though? Because I don't know if they've got long enough legs.
I don't think they ever did, because that was part of the whole, denying the runway at Stanley, was so that the Mirages couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So I think they were always an ever-present threat. I know the Daggers made it, and the Picaras made it, and the A4s made it.
Yes.
But yeah, the Mirage never came out. I think they basically, after a while, they ended up just staying at home and didn't come out. And yeah, so
nice
but,
aircraft.
if you were looking at a more different flavor of Falklands War, you could have the Mirages sitting at Stanley and the Harriers out on a carrier. So
It totally could have happened.
could have happened, yeah. If Black Buck hadn't been pulled off and they'd missed the runway, then yeah, it would have been a very different war, because the Mirages would have come out and have been sat at Stanley, and there would have been a whole world of hurt going on for the Harriers. So
Yes.
yeah, interesting.
Nice.
Or
nice
maybe not. That would be interesting, because I mean, when you get into sort of, because BVR in the F1 probably quite minimal, so you're still talking about a dogfight. So you're talking about the Mirage is now going to be subsonic. Yes, okay, fine, it can escape because it has the speed, but if it mixed it up with the Harrier, who knows?
Indeed. Cool. Okay, so I think that's it for the Mirage. Let's jump on to the next thing. And oops, no, not there. Here, we've got this week's newsletter from Eagle Dynamics.
Yeah.
So a bunch of stuff in here. Of course, the first thing they mention is the 2.7 update, which we've already mentioned. They go over what they feel are the most important things here.
Yeah,
pretty much the same things that we mentioned. And then we have the Mariana Islands. I always want to call it I always want to call them marinara, but that's a sauce.
the Marinara Islands, the Sauce Islands. Yeah.
So I'm gonna bump up to the full screen screenshots here, actually, because it's pretty nice.
They're lovely.
They're very, very nice. This is, oops, I didn't mean to do that. This is clearly the most advanced version of Eagle Dynamics' terrain engine that we've seen so far. In particular, I think the water is looking better than before. I think it's looking considerably better than before, in fact, which is cool. We're not seeing that in this shot, of course. They are, as I understand it, working on two versions of this map. You described it to me that they made the modern day one, and then they removed stuff to make the World War II one.
Yes, yeah. So they built the modern day one first, and then they've stripped off the modern stuff to give us the World War II variant. So obviously, sort of Anderson's like much more stripped back, and then it's just sort of adding things like the naval magazine for the warships during World War II. Yeah, and I think this map is supposed to be incredibly detailed, and I mean they're talking in some places that it's accurate down to the house.
Yes, yes, I heard that.
There's they're getting some real painstaking meticulousness going on here. I've just seen in chat. Togus said, so I'm guessing that implies there'll be some World War II Japanese assets at some point. And that is an interesting question.
Yeah, because we currently have nothing.
Yeah, we've got nothing. And it seems like, well, if you're going to be having World War II conflict over the Mariana Islands, you're going to need Japanese shipping and you're going to need zeros.
Absolutely, yes.
Which we don't have. So... yeah, maybe like AI zeros.
That would be cool.
Unless somebody's doing a zero mod that we don't know about.
I've not heard of anything at all, and so far the vast majority of the World War II aircraft have been made by Eagle. I'm not even aware of any. Well, actually, there was that one Russian aircraft made by Octopus, I think.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
So there was one, and I think everything else was pretty much made by Eagle. So yeah, in the newsletter they talk about U.S. Naval Base Guam, the Ordnance Annex that you mentioned, Northwest Field, which is what Anderson Air Force Base was called in World War II. That then becomes Anderson Air Force Base. And then down at the bottom.
There's a really interesting historical point. Am I wrong in saying that's where the Enola Gay took off from?
Now you're asking. I don't know.
And I think it might be. I could be wrong, but because part of that island, if it is where I'm thinking of, there's actually an area that's been covered over with glass because it's the They couldn't load the bomb into Tainan, right? Thank you. Okay, so I'm talking nonsense then. But as an aside, there's a really interesting area. It's covered over with glass because the bomb was so big they couldn't strap it to the underside of the B-29. They had to dig a pit underneath it. And basically have it sitting in this pit and then hoist it up into the bottom of the aircraft, and they're covered over with glass, and it's a historic monument and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was there, but chat has informed me it was Tainan. So there we go.
They needed a larger airfield. Doesn't surprise me. So yes, and then they mentioned the P-47D Thunderbolt.
The Jug.
Yes, exactly, the Jug.
Yeah.
I think they're just mentioning the fact that they were stationed here. Pretty much. Yeah. So that's all the content that we had in the newsletter. What do we have next? Oh yes, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. The integrated air defense network module that people have been discussing. I have that here. Now this one, I don't know that much about this, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like somebody is discussing the possibility of making a dedicated module, maybe something kind of like SamSim. Yeah, and there was just a couple of things. This passed me by. It was a post that came up in January. And it passed me by in the churn of the forum, and I came across it just a few days ago, and I thought, oh well, that's interesting because obviously one of the threats that pilots face in a war zone is air defense, but integrated air defense systems, like you don't just
have a SAM site guarding an area, that SAM site is controlled by a wider network of airborne controllers and, you know, strategists and things like that. So, you know, when, you know, these SAM sites are usually silent and they don't turn on until you're into their engagement zone, and then suddenly you're being launched on. You don't get, you know, a nice little warning on your radar warning receiver that, oh, there's a, you know, there's an SA-10 site, you know, 100 miles away. That doesn't happen. You know, it's much sneakier than that, and that's what integrated air defense is. So they're talking about having more simulation of integrated air defenses, but there was a few things that stuck out here. And what was it? Yes. So following features would be part of the IADS module: recon information processing. So ELINT, SIGINT, and comment. So that's you're talking about gathering, you know, intelligence using listening devices on aircraft and things like that. And you know,
this is very, very interesting if they're talking about this being capable of perhaps detecting your radio transmissions and triangulating. Detecting emissions from your aircraft, like even your radar altimeter and things like that.
Yeah. And mission editor enhanced functions: radar coverage, computation, and display. So, you know, actually being able to position your radar and see, well, you know, is that going to be shadowed by this hill and all that kind of stuff.
That's good.
You know, radar placement recommendation depending on the type. You know, anticipated air attack directions, no fire sector / areas, you know, advanced AI assisted command and control, and multiplayer support. So basically, air defense is going to get a lot more deadlier, but I think, but we're actually looking about it being some kind of an interactable module.
Like a Samano style thing.
Yeah, which would be great. I think it would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but certainly just sort of, you know, having to think a bit more about air defense rather than just plonking a SAM site down at an airbase or wherever. You know, yes. It's going to make for sort of much more interesting gameplay, I think.
I agree. I totally agree. I think this is really, really cool. I don't know at what stage they're at here. Like, my understanding was they were trying to gather people's opinion and gauge the level of interest. So I don't even think any development has been done on this yet, but it looks cool.
Yeah, a lot of this can be done in the mission editor if you use sort of things like Moose or scripting languages and stuff like that, where there's actually a module called, there's a class in Moose called Mantis that actually simulates a lot of this through the scripting environment. But it would be nice to have it in game, and I think the idea, you know, being able to see what your radar is going to be able to see with placement and stuff, that's going to be interesting. It'd be funny, it'd be good to see where it goes. But yeah, it looks like this has come out of some kind of military requirement. So
here's hoping. So, on to some smaller items. We've got a bunch of little things that kind of came up this week. First one is that the Chuck's guide for, and it's not you, but
not me,
Charlie Owl.
I am not that Chuck. People have asked, "Am I that Chuck?" And no, I'm not.
So, Chuck's guide for the FA-18C Hornet has been updated. That's good, but of course there's been a lot of stuff added to the F-18C recently, so nice to see what for most of us is the official documentation, because you know, Eagle's manuals are fine and I always kind of scan through them, but once I start flying a module, the Eagle manual goes in the bin and Chuck's guide is what comes out. That's the one I actually use. So, he creates great documentation. He does. Heat Blur, they of course most recently posted their entire Trello board for us to dig through, and they are talking about a next-gen aircraft, Chuck, a next-gen aircraft. And you and I did a little exercise, actually I can bring that up, you and I did a little exercise earlier on where we were like, what the hell could that be? So here are all of the aircraft that were, all the military aircraft I guess, that were, no, these aren't even just military in fact. Anyway, all the new aircraft in the 1990s that were released. We settled for the Air Tractor.
The 8802. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that in game. The 8802. That did come out in the 90s. Now, the reason why we're settling on the 90s is that they said it's a next generation aircraft.
Yeah.
From the F-14.
Yes.
They are moving to a different era. So we're out the 70s and 80s of the F-14. And they did announce that Meteor is going to be doing the soundtrack, and he's going to be doing it specific
in a time-appropriate style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's contemporary to the F-14, because I know some people got a bit excited about, could it be a Tornado? And the Tornado, it's not coming to DCS. It's been squashed. The license holders have said no.
Yeah.
So, and that's 80s. So we're specifically looking at the 90s here. So we went through this list.
Byron quite rightly, I was thinking about this too. Byron quite rightly points out that there was a close air support version of the air tractor.
Exactly.
And I've seen it, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the 8802.
It is that one. Okay.
But let's go through this list. Like, okay, so we've got a bunch of civilian stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of helicopters that came out in the 90s, like a lot of next generation attack helicopters. Now, I don't think it's going to be Heatblur's going to do a helicopter. You know, that's not where their experience is.
I also think on the Trello board it said next generation jet. I might be imagining it, but I think it said jet.
Yeah.
So we can discount all of that.
Right.
There is the
first one. Sorry, Karen.
I was going to say there's the QF4 unmanned target drone, Phantom 4, but no, it's not going to be that.
Yeah. The first one, the first candidate that we come to here is the Super Hornet.
Yes. Where's the Super Hornet? Here it is. Super Hornet.
Yeah. I just can't see it happening. I'd be really upset if it was the Super Hornet.
I don't know why, but I don't think it's going to be the Super Hornet. Because I kind of feel like if the Super Hornet was going to be coming to DCS, then Eagle would have just done it. I think if they could have gotten the information and agreement, Eagle would have just made a Super Hornet. The fact that they made a classic Hornet makes me think that for whatever reason the Super Hornet's not doable.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, we've got the VC-25. You know, I just can't see, DCS Air Force One simulator being a thing.
No.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of civilian stuff. Oh, DA-40, the aircraft I fly in the real world, but it's not going to be that.
Okay, and then we've got some more. We've got some more attack helicopters. Yeah, we've got drones. Export version of the F-16. Not going to be that. We've got some transport aircraft. Then we've got a bunch of experimental things that never happened. We've got the X-44 Manta. The YF-22 Raptor. It's the F-22.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I think Byron sees where we're going with this.
Yeah. Let's just not shoot our wad just yet. MD-900s again, no. All right. B-2 Spirit, no. The Black Widow, well, that lost. The Panavia Tornado ECR, which is the sort of electronic warfare version of the IDS, no, not happening.
Yeah, well, Panavia are very against simulation stuff.
The license holder has squashed that. I don't think Panavia exists anymore, so I don't know who has it, but they've gone no. More helicopter stuff. The Gripen. Moving on quickly.
Yep.
Sukhoi Su-30.
That would be nice.
It would be nice, but as we know, the Russians are a little bit sketchy about letting out some of that stuff. Like Black Shark 3 very nearly didn't happen because of that.
Yeah.
So I can't see it being the Su-30. I can't see it being a 31 or the 33 for the same reasons. And then we pretty much get to the end of the 90s. So let's go back to the one that stuck out, which was
Saab Gripen.
The Saab Gripen.
Now, why do we think it could be this?
Right, okay, so some of the guys, in fact, I think a large proportion of the guys in Heatblur are from Sweden.
I know at least one or two of them are, yes.
Yeah. The Gripen just had an update.
The E model.
The E model, maybe they need a desktop trainer. In the same way that the Mirage 2000 became a desktop trainer for the French Air Force.
Yes.
So there's a potential of a military customer. It's a next generation jet.
Fairly widely exported. It's currently
widely exported. Yeah.
It's currently in use by the Hungarian Air Force, the Czech Air Force, the Brazilian Air Force, Swedish Air Force, of course. And there are a few of them in the UK.
Yep, with the Empire Test Pilot School.
Yep.
And it's a different decade. It's very much a 90s jet. So I think what we're saying is that we're going on record as the next Heatblur module is going to be a Gripen.
You heard it here first. We think it's going to be a Gripen. We have zero evidence. Nobody has told us anything.
No evidence.
No evidence. But to me, at least, it makes sense. I think it would be the one.
Yeah, because you came to me with this idea, saying, I think it's going to be this. And you were expecting me to go, oh, come on, you're talking shit.
Yes.
But no, it totally adds up. The parts of the team are going to have access to a real aircraft nearby. It has been recently updated, so there's potential for a military contract here. It's not massively classified. It's a next generation jet from a different era. I can't think of anything else. I can't see it being the Russian stuff because of letting the license. They just won't let the license out. The Tornado's just off the cards.
Yeah.
And
Typhoon's already happening.
Sorry?
Typhoon is already happening.
Typhoon's already... Yeah, that's the other thing. Typhoon's already happening, because I would have said Typhoon, but Typhoon's already happening. True Grit have got that sewn up and are doing it very well. So the only thing other than the F-22 and the Super Hornet that came out in that time period is the Gripen. And I can't see it. And I can't see it being the JSF. I can't see it being the F-35. Just no.
Yeah, and tell me that this thing is not sexy.
It is. It's a hot jet. Like, I would be really happy to fly it in DCS.
I would too. I think.
I mean, we've got no evidence that it is a Gripen, but I think
you heard it here first. Heatblur are going to release a Gripen.
Yeah.
Deephack and dotChuckles said so.
Either that or it's a massive troll and it's the 8802, you know.
I would still be happy, actually. I would still be quite happy.
Yeah, I'd still be happy with the air tractor.
Yeah.
But it just adds up. And, you know, when you look at everything that came out, they say it's next generation, they say it's a different era. A whole bunch of nothing happened after the 90s. Because everything was tied up with the, you know, the sort of midlife upgrade for the F-22 and the F-35. Like in the West, like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that happened in terms of fixed wing fighter aircraft was the Gripen. It's the only thing I can think of. It totally makes sense.
Well. Chat, tell us what you think. Tell us if you think that we have completely lost our marbles and needs to go have a lie down. But yeah, I think it's going to be this. I hope it's going to be this. I'd be very, very happy.
Yeah. Todd correctly points out end of the Cold War, like the requirement to make aircraft. Yeah, you know, it was stuff that was on the design boards anyway.
Yeah,
you know, that was getting finished up, and then there was just this big gap, and then we had the F-35. Yeah.
And everybody, tell us what you think of the Gripen. Do you think the Gripen is a slightly prettier version of an F-16?
Oh, yeah. It's a super capable aircraft as well. Like, it's super sexy. I saw one fly at I think it was Farnborough, just around about when it came out, and I was like really impressed with the display it did. And I didn't see an aircraft do a display like that until I saw the Typhoon fly. So yeah, I'd be really happy.
Yes, yeah. As would I.
Yeah.
I'm going to very quickly bring up F-16X because okay, here we go. This is what
the Western Berkuts, basically.
Yeah. I was wrong. I thought it was the one with the forward swept wings. It's actually the one with that looks like this. How do I get a full-size picture of this?
It's the one with the crazy leading edge extensions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I would say. Yes,
I thought you were. I thought as well. It was the forward swept wings one as well.
Yeah.
That looks mental.
This was a NASA prototype, as I recall. So, yes, in fact, it was. It was a NASA prototype. Tog, we're not getting this, because this was never flown by anyone, apart from NASA. And I doubt it was ever fitted with pylons. Probably not even fitted with a radar, to be honest. So, yeah.
But I just want to call out something that just came up in chat there. Byron said... in DCS terms, it's a Western JF-17. Yes, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
But I would say, well, the JF-17, when you look at what they've done, like within their restrictions and within their kind of price point, the JF-17 is sort of genius. It's kind of, it's an amazing aircraft. However, the Gripen does not have any of those restrictions. So the Gripen is kind of a similar concept. It is still a low-cost aircraft when you compare it with something like an F-22 or F-35, but it kind of takes that kind of core concept of something like the JF-17 and scales it up for a bigger budget and whatnot. So because the JF-17 is basically all off-the-shelf components like that they whack together into an airframe. It started off with a MiG-20, well, a more developed version of the MiG-21 airframe, one engine out of a MiG-29, and then a bunch of Chinese off-the-shelf avionics. So, like, it's the most shoestring aircraft you could ever conceive of, but what they ended up with was kind of incredible.
Can I just say, because I've just been scrolling through this list whilst we were chatting. Number 92 in 1997, the Sukhoi Su-32/37/47 Berkut.
That's even there.
That is there. It was in 97.
Okay.
So who knows? But no, it's the Gripen. It's going to be the Gripen. Come on.
Yeah, we're not getting our hands on this. The Russian government was pissy enough about the Black Shark. We're definitely not getting this. And also, that you couldn't really consider this operational, because how many of them have been built? Like 5 or something.
I don't think it was even that. I think they like built maybe 1 or 2 of them. I thought it was purely a test platform, as far as I understood.
My understanding is that the Russian government went ahead and has ordered them, but in extremely limited numbers.
Okay.
Am I making this up? I thought that they had recently ordered this thing. I'm gonna make an absolute fool of myself. Look this up
the thing is the forward swept wing idea is not a new concept. The Germans were fiddling around with it in World War II. And it does have it has advantages in some areas, but it has some real big disadvantages in others. So it's
Wikipedia says it's cancelled. I'm clearly... am I thinking of the PakFa? I think I was thinking of the PakFa, because they ordered one of them.
The PakFa. No, that was the next gen. Was that the answer to the... Oh no,
it was a Sukhoi.
F-22.
Yeah, and actually...
The PakFa.
The PakFa, so it's the Su-57 PakFa, was introduced into service in 2020.
It was staggeringly expensive.
Yes.
That's what I do remember. The PakFa, like, was... it was almost like country bankrupting expensive.
They have 10 prototypes and 2 serial aircraft in service. So it has been ordered, but they've barely delivered any yet. So this is the one I was thinking of. The Berkut, of course, was only ever a prototype.
It's like a lot of Russian like a lot of high-end Russian hardware. It's super advanced. It's super capable. It's terrifying from a NATO adversary point of view. But the problem is they can only make about 2 of them because they are catastrophically expensive. Like a while back when the Syrian conflict first kicked off. There was a big display of force from Russia with their cruise missile launch from the Black Sea. They launched like 20 of these cruise missiles, and they flew like 1,000 miles and like hit their targets directly. And this was like their latest cruise missile. The problem is that they probably launched their entire supply of them in that one mission. Because again, they're catastrophically expensive to produce. So yeah. I think that's what happened with the PakFa. Why they've only had a couple delivered is just because it's so expensive. Very, very capable, but massively expensive.
To go on a slight tangent, another very, very capable piece of Russian hardware, being the R-77 Vimpel, or whatever the hell it's called, their air-to-air missile. And for a while, they didn't have them because they were made in Ukraine. And after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the factory was on the wrong side of the border.
Yeah, and we can now segue because chat just asked any news on the VAF server because that missile was causing some hassle in our testings, I seem to believe.
I'm getting a lot better at dealing with it, but yes, we were absolutely stomped. So news on the server. Deephack, please tell us where are we with the server? Well, we have sort of perfected the kind of air-to-air component, and we've got the Incirlik airbase just the way we want it. The range is now in, which is super good, and actually that in itself might be enough for us to go live at some point pretty soon. There is there's like a static kind of ground battle at an airfield. I forget which airfield it is again.
Aleppo. It's at Aleppo. Yeah. So I set up a mission that, like Syrian Free Army's trying to take over Aleppo airport, and, they get brought up short, and you have to go and, take out a mechanized infantry group that's holding them up. But it's not dynamic, it is static, it's, So there's no ground conflict in yet, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is enough to push it live. I know we were discussing on our Discord about what we were planning on doing about Cyprus coming in.
Yes, which is exciting.
Yeah. So my intention was always to have both Cyprus and Incirlik, because the Red Force have Latakia and Juarez as their air bases, and at the moment everything on the blue side is at Incirlik, and it's a little bit full. So spreading it across to Cyprus, I think, that's going to help. So I would imagine when Cyprus comes online, we'll get it in. So yes.
And then I do want to take a little bit of a look at maybe kind of a limited dynamic ground war. I think it'd be quite cool to put some of that in, but I think we will probably go live before that, because you can already attack the air defense system. You can already attack the caps, and there is this single piece of ground conflict that you can get involved with. And if you want to do training, we have the range as always, which is really good. Yeah.
Which is only available to the blue side, so we might have to stick a red side range in as well. But yeah,
indeed. So yes, stay tuned for that. And actually, that did segue a little bit onto one of the other news items, which was Cyprus is coming, and I would expect very soon at this stage, because we've even seen some videos of people flying over it. I assume people with pre-release copies.
Yeah, the latest, well, the latest tutorial from Matt Wagner, for Tlamiar, that was, you know, the targets were in Cyprus. So,
yes.
um,
Probably means
yeah.
it's coming soon.
Yeah, and yeah, I think the other thing that you wanted to talk about was the Super Hornet free mod.
Yes, indeed. Somebody has released a free Super Hornet mod. I don't actually know who. What I'll do is after the stream I will post a link because I can't remember who it was. Now, it's a little bit problematic because it takes over your F-18C. So while you have this mod installed, you can't fly the F-18C. And it is basically a repurposed version of the F-18C module. All the avionics are the same, with the exception of the UFC. They have implemented the touchscreen UFC from the Super Hornet. The external model is a complete external model of a Super Hornet, which is cool. Sadly, we can't make use of the 2 additional pylons on the wings, because all the avionics and whatnot are still basically F-18C. But I imagine they're going to work on that at some point and make it possible to bring the extra hurt, which would be nice.
So that clearly takes the other aircraft that Heatblur could have made out of the picture, because Heatblur are totally not going to do a Super Hornet because there's already a mod. So it's definitely the Gripen.
That's probably one of our weaker justifications, but maybe. I think the Gripen just makes sense. The Gripen just makes sense.
It does, yeah. One of us is going to get PM'd in the next couple of days.
Oh, okay.
With like, shut up, stop talking about it.
Yes, exactly. You've blown the whole thing wide open. Who have you been talking to? Nitch says in the chat that 9line has stated that specific module is illegal. It breaks the EULA.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, yes, because it's reusing assets, isn't it?
Yeah. So, oh well, that's a shame. So I imagine that's going to disappear fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Because it literally does just repurpose your F-18C. So they're reusing everything.
Just Tog. So is it just Cyprus, or is there landmass north or east? It's Cyprus.
It's just Cyprus.
Yeah. It's all the island. Yeah, I don't think they're extending out the Med and like the coastline of Turkey much. It's just and towards Greece. I don't think that's happening.
Which I feel is fine, because the Syria map is already huge and very, very detailed. So you've got everything that you could possibly want in there already, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about Cyprus and Turkey, and then sort of clear across down into Iraq in that map already. And sort of Iraq and Jordan, and you've got certain parts of Israel there. So I mean, yeah, it's a big map already. You'd be like, if you were starting to try to want to fly across that, you're needing like multiple refuel stops or carrying all the drop tanks in the world.
Yes, yeah, it's crazy. I did do a flight across kind of the northern part, like across Turkey, basically, in a Harrier that I launched off of Atarawa, and that was good fun. I did need to make stops, and I even needed to do some air-to-air refueling, which was fun.
Yeah. Cyprus-Turkey conflict at some point from Nitch. Yeah. Invasion of Cyprus again. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. You could totally do that.
Yeah. I think like the map technology. I remember, again, this is going back some 8 or 9 years now, that Matt Wagner was talking about one of their goals was to do, to have a map generation tool that did the whole Earth.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably a bit beyond them. Like, I can't imagine them being able to pull that off.
Well, their maps at the current time are almost entirely handcrafted. Like, I know they get the elevation information, but then after that, they're pretty much texturing it by hand and placing objects, and like it's a huge amount of work to make a map for DCS. Yeah,
I mean the only way that sort of like looking at the other big flight sim and the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, the only way that they've pulled it off is through stunningly good artificial intelligence analyzing satellite imagery. You know, that's the only way they've been able to actually successfully do it, and then going in and correcting errors where the AI is, you know, got confused. So unless they're, you know, thinking about that, but then again, this was Matt Wagner talking years ago, so, you know, who knows where they are.
And the thing is, I don't even I don't feel like it's useful, because most of the world is not interesting from a military flight simulator standpoint. The vast majority of the world is not interesting. There are only particular hotspots that you want a map for. So I don't really see any problem with their current approach.
That said, I would still like to see a South Wales map in DCS, just so I can fly the back loop.
Yes, that would be cool. Yeah, maybe somebody will do that someday.
Yeah, LFA 7, that would be quite good.
Yeah, totally. So that's everything I've got on my list. Did you have anything else that you were wanting to discuss, Mr. dotChuckles?
Not really. I think we have pretty much talked it out. I think our prediction of you know, the Saab Gripen being the next big module.
Tell everyone.
I'm gonna stand by it. Yeah, tell everyone. This is the you know, we've done the detective work, we've done the thinking, and we think it's this.
If Heatbler's next module is not the Saab Gripen, I will eat a slice of pizza.
If it's not the Saab Gripen, I will probably just go, oh well.
I'll just look a little bit silly.
I can't think of any other aircraft it could be.
No.
If they're going forward in time, because the stuff like the F-35, just no, it's not going to happen.
No, I don't think so. I would love it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not yet. Not yet. Give them another decade or so, maybe.
Yeah. But other than that, no. I will be streaming on Twitch Tuesday night at 10 p.m. UK time. Other than that, I'm doing nothing because I have a full-time contract for the next couple of months, which is sucking my life. So
got to fill the coffers.
So,
So follow this man. Follow this man. He produces
come find me on Twitch.
Content.
You can watch my ineptitude. We're playing Valheim at the moment still.
Woo! I like Valheim. It's good.
Valheim's really good fun, actually. Yeah, very Viking.
And of course, my series of tutorial videos on the F-16 will continue, with the next one being air-to-air radar mode. So please tune in next Saturday for that one. That would be super good. And in the meantime, thank you very much for watching, everybody. As always, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.